If this video recommended itself to you, don't search for the website after you're done watching. I'm serious. Close the app, watch something funny, do anything else, but don't type its name if you ever find it. I almost deleted this recording because every time someone talks about that site, it somehow notices. I know how insane that sounds, but you'll understand soon enough. Before I tell you what happened, answer me honestly. Has your webcam light ever turned on for no reason, even when no program was open? If it has, that wasn't a glitch. It wasn't your imagination either. Everything I'm about to tell you can still be verified, for now. There's one detail I'm still refusing to tell you until the end, because once you know it, there's no forgetting it. It all started because of a link with no thumbnail and 0 comments. It happened during one of those late-night rabbit holes where you start looking for forgotten websites and abandoned forums just to see what the internet left behind. I was digging through an old web archive when I found a page with the simplest name I'd ever seen. Visitorlog.html. No description, no thumbnail, no comments. Just a dead-looking link that somehow had no record of ever being shared. When it loaded, the page was completely white. No images, no advertisements, no menus. Only a single line sitting in the center of the screen. Thank you for visiting. That was it. I refreshed the page, expecting an error or maybe a hidden script to appear. Nothing changed. Just those 4 words staring back at me like they were waiting for me to blink first. A few seconds later, my phone buzzed. An email. No sender. No return address. The subject line read, "You looked." I laughed and called my friend, convinced someone had built an elaborate ARG. He barely listened. "Bro, that's obviously malware. You're overthinking th." The call cut off. Not ended. Just stopped. I texted him. No reply. By the next morning, his Discord account was gone. Every message he'd ever sent me had vanished with it, as if he'd never existed online at all. That's when I realized this wasn't some forgotten website waiting to be rediscovered. It was waiting for someone to notice it. I should have stopped before refreshing. But refreshing wasn't the mistake. I opened visitorlog.html again that night, expecting another empty page. Instead, the sentence in the center disappeared 1 letter at a time, as though someone were deleting it while I watched. A new line slowly faded into view. "You're sitting closer today." I froze. I hadn't told anyone I'd open the page again. Another line appeared. "You haven't blinked in 11 seconds." Almost instinctively, I blinked. Then I reached for my laptop and checked everything. My webcam was covered with electrical tape. The microphone had been unplugged weeks ago. Just to be certain, I slammed the lid shut and reopened the page on my phone. The messages kept updating. "Your heart is racing. You're holding your breath. You keep looking toward the bedroom door. Every movement, every breath, every tiny hesitation." It wasn't guessing. It was watching. I whispered to myself, "That's impossible." A single reply appeared beneath the others. "We know." I pushed my chair back, trying to convince myself there had to be hidden cameras, spyware, something explainable. Before I could stand up, another sentence appeared. "You'll scratch your left arm in 3 seconds." I frowned. Then an itch crawled across my skin. Without thinking, I scratched it. My stomach dropped. Another message replaced it. "Your phone will ring in 12 seconds." I counted under my breath. 9, 10, 11. My phone rang. Unknown number. I didn't answer. When I looked back at the page, a photograph had appeared. It was me, asleep in my bed. The picture had been taken from directly above my pillow, looking down at my face. I live alone. The timestamp was only 6 minutes old. My hands started shaking. As I scrolled down, the website revealed something I hadn't noticed before, a live visitor list. Thousands of usernames. Every one of them marked online. No profile pictures. No messages. No typing indicators. Just silent names watching the page together. One by one, random usernames would suddenly change. Online. Became. Offline. No explanation. No warning. Just gone. The pattern repeated every few minutes, like a countdown I didn't understand. That's when I realized something horrifying. Technology records memories. Photos, videos, messages. But this website didn't archive moments. It archived people. I refreshed the visitor list one last time. My username was still there. Only, it wasn't glowing green anymore. It had turned gray. For the first time since opening the page, I felt like I wasn't the one looking at the website. The website was looking back. That's when I discovered the rules. The moment my username turned gray, the visitor list vanished. In its place, a tiny hyperlink appeared in the bottom right corner of the page. It hadn't been there before. Rules.html. I clicked it. The screen went black for several seconds before 5 short rules faded into view, one at a time. 1. Never reload this page. 2. Never cover your camera. 3. Never say your own name while the page is open. 4. Ignore movement behind your reflection. 5. If another cursor appears, don't move yours. I actually laughed. After everything I'd already seen, those rules felt ridiculous. My webcam had been covered since the beginning, so Rule 2 had clearly been wrong. Just to prove it to myself, I pressed the tape down harder over the camera. The computer fan stopped. Not slowed. Stopped. The quiet that followed wasn't normal silence. It was the kind that made your ears ring, as if the entire room had been vacuum sealed. Even the clock on my wall seemed to stop ticking. A faint electrical hum crept through the room. Then I looked at my monitor. My reflection blinked. A full second after I did, every muscle in my body locked. Before I could move, a second mouse cursor drifted onto the screen. It wasn't connected to my hand. It floated across the page with slow, deliberate movements before stopping beneath the rules. Letters appeared one by one. Don't make it notice us. My throat went dry. Who's typing? I whispered. Nothing. No reply. The second cursor lingered for another heartbeat, then simply faded away, leaving only mine behind. I stared at the list again, convinced there had to be another instruction hidden somewhere. There wasn't, but I knew something was missing. There was a 6th rule. It wasn't written, and somehow, I learned it anyway. I never opened visitorlog.html again. I didn't have to. The next morning, it had become my homepage. I changed it. It came back. I switched browsers. Same page. I reset my computer. Every search engine redirected me there, as if the rest of the internet had quietly stepped aside to make room for it. Then the real nightmare started. People began recognizing me. At a grocery store, the cashier scanned my items, paused, and smiled without looking up. Your visitor 48391. Right on time. Before I could ask what she meant, she handed me my receipt like nothing had happened. 2 days later, a police officer stopped me outside my apartment. He studied my face for a moment before saying, "Didn't I see you online yesterday?" I'd never met him before. I hurried home, trying to convince myself I was imagining everything. Halfway there, a little kid standing with his mother looked directly at me and waved. Then he whispered with a smile far too calm for someone his age, "It already knows." When I reached my computer, the website was already open. A new profile filled the center of the screen. Visitor 48,391. Status, observing. As I watched, the text slowly changed. Status, observed. Immediately, dozens of older visitor profiles vanished from the list, erased without a trace. That's when everything finally made sense. Those terrifying stories scattered across forgotten forums, the deleted posts, abandoned blogs, and impossible confessions, they weren't fiction. They were warnings left behind by previous visitors. Even the files labeled Case 07 weren't stories. They were evidence. The internet doesn't just let us browse websites. Sometimes, a website browses us. Before closing the page, I noticed one final detail. There was only one profile newer than mine, and then it visited someone else. 3 days later, visitorlog.html was gone. The domain no longer existed. My browser history had erased itself, every screenshot was corrupted, and every backup file had become unreadable. For the first time in weeks, I thought it was finally over. Then this video finished uploading. The very first comment appeared. "I found the page because of your video." I didn't reply. I just looked into the camera and whispered, then it isn't trapped inside a website anymore. At that exact moment, my webcam light turned on. The recording began to glitch. Static swallowed the screen. Just before everything went black, a voice breathed the same 4 words that started all of this. Thank you for visiting. And before you leave, if your webcam light has ever turned on without permission, don't tell me when it happened. I already know.